Hello, solvers. Huge welcome to this phonology series. Today we are going to talk about pronunciation as well as accent, and I will share you some definitions in why both of them plays like such an important role when learning English, so you can understand them better. So let's start that with many students. They believe that if they know grammar rules and vocabulary, communication should be easy, right? But they often notice that people still ask them to repeat or say some things like again, like sorry or what did you say? So they feel misunderstood. In most cases, this does not happen because of grammar mistakes. Actually, this happens because of pronunciation. So first, let's get into differencing the concept of pronunciation and accent. Okay, so nowadays we often use the terms of pronunciation and accent interchangeably, but when it comes to learning language as English, right, they actually mean different things. So, to put it simply, pronunciation here is how we pronounce each syllable of a word, which can be accurate or not. For example, pronouncing down or down is wrong actually. On the other hand, we also have that an accent is the language, rhythm, and melody, distinguishing like regional variations of the same language. So with over like 190 countries, there's a bound to be a difference around the world in accents. So when we hear, for example, an Indian English accent, we are very likely to understand what is being said, as pronunciation usually is like a standard. But at the same time, we can tell the speaker's origin, right? So, as an accent is tied to culture, it is harder to change. But the good news is that you don't need to change it. So, instead, you just can just focusing on improving your pronunciation, and as well that will lead you to more influential achievements in your language learning journey while keeping yourself natural and of course proud of your origins, right? So today we are going to focus about pronunciation. But what is pronunciation and why is it so important? Pronunciation is the way that we pronounce sounds in a language. As well, it includes how we pronounce individual sounds, how we stress certain syllables in a word, how we emphasize important words in a sentence, and how our voice goes up or down when we speak. So pronunciation is not about sounding native or changing who you are. It is about being clear and easy to understand. So just for you to know, English has like many sounds that may not exist in your first language, like for example in Spanish. Um, with the sound, for example, think, the word think, or the difference between sheep or sheep, the animal, these small differences may seem unimportant, but they can completely change the meaning of what you say, of course. So, this is why pronunciation matters so much. So, I want you to know that when pronunciation is unclear, communication becomes like really difficult, even if your grammar is correct. Even if your grammar is perfect, I think that maybe others, like maybe native speakers, won't understand you if you don't pronounce the words well. So let's continue. Another important aspect of pronunciation is stress, as you may see there. In English, not all the syllables are pronounced with the same strength. Some syllables are stressed more than others, and this stress can change the meaning of a word. For example, when we say present, we are talking about a noun, about like what we are doing right now, right? But when we say present, we are using a verb. Right now, I am presenting this conference. So the same happens at the sentence level, right? English speakers naturally stress the most important words. For example, in the sentence, I went to the store yesterday, we usually stress more went, store, and yesterday. This rhythm helps listeners understand faster. So as well, on the other hand, we have intonation. Intonation is another key part of pronunciation. It is the melody of the language, right? When we ask yes or no questions, for example, our voice usually rises, like in "Are you ready?" When we make like this kind of statements, our voice usually falls as well. But in example, when we are responding, "I am ready," it is falling, right? So that's why intonation helps express meaning, emotion, and intention as well. So without a correct intonation, a sentence may sound confusing or even rude, even if the words are correct. So it is very important that you have this information in mind. So now I also decided to bring 6 tips that can help you to improve your pronunciations. As a first one, do vocal and consonant warm ups. For example, A, I, or for consonants, T, P, D. That is pretty good. So you can know how to pronounce those consonants better, right? As well, you can do a video, make a video of yourself or a recording of yourself speaking English. I don't know, you can find a lecture and you can do a video or recording of yourself where you are speaking, um, or where you are reading the lecture, right? As a third one, act out a scene. What it means, maybe you can find like your favorite is scene in a movie, I don't know, in a series, and you can act it out, right? So it is like as well an a good way to improve your pronunciation, right? Acting out a scene, is like retelling what the person said. As well, you can read out loud, without recording a video or without everything. You can just read out loud. You can as well find a lecture, a reading, an article, a test, and you have to read it out loud. It will help you to improve your pronunciation. As a 5 step, we have to sing along or out loud, however you want to say it. It's like finding your favorite song, but it has to be in English, right? So in this case, it is like memorizing those lyrics of the song and sing it out loud. And the sixth one and the last one is practice shadowing. What is shadowing? It is like finding a video of a person talking in English, whichever video you want, and you have to hit pause and then say what the person just said, and then hit plays and listen, and again memorizing what the person said, and again hit pause, and again retelling what the person just said. That is practice shadowings. Those are 6 tips to improve your pronunciation. So of course, you can practice with them. And it is very important, yeah, like in conclusion right now, it is very important to understand that you can have a good pronunciation and still have an accent. Pronunciation is about clarity. Accent is about your identity. So you don't need to sound like a native speaker so to speak like English very well. Your goal should be to be understood, not to erase who you are. So, in short, pronunciation is a key tool for effective communications. So it focuses on sounds, stress, and intonation, and its main purpose is clarity. So when you work on pronunciation, you are not trying to be perfect. You are just trying to be understood. So thank you so much, guys, for this video. Thank you so much for seeing it. I hope that we again meet for the second series of phonology. And goodbye.